れません。信じられません。しかもこの信じられない事件が今我々の眼中において展開されているのであります。今やゴジラの飛び出したそれでは終わりそうから例えばゴジラは移動を開始いたしどうやら土山方面に向かう模様であります。我々の世界は一瞬のうちに200万年の世界に引き込まされたのでありましょうか。
What's doing, guys? Back with another fresh final review, and today we're going to be looking at the brand new xplus 30cm series Gamera 1995 from 1995's Gamera, the Guardian of the Universe. Boom! Alright, so let's get some facts out of the way. This figure was just released October 2025. I got mine fresh out of the box just yesterday at the time of this recording, and freaking excited that I have Gamera 95 again back in the collection. So, let's get some facts about the box. Typical standard xplus box. We got a really cool box art here. I really dig that. The colors are popping. The image is crisp. It looks really, really nice. We got the Gamera 60th anniversary logo right up here at the top. That's right, because Gamera is celebrating 60 years this year. Boom. His first film came out in 1965. That's what's up. All right. Inside the box, you got your basic plastic housing. The figure, it's buttoned up in there with some tape. The good thing is, for those of us that have been collecting for like 12 plus years, we don't have to worry about those damn twist ties and having to, wrap them, get them on wrapped around his neck, legs, arms, and all that. Right out of the box, you do got to get your hair dryer, get his tail, and his butthole squishy soft. Own that hole and pop that tail on. That's what's up. All right, so that's the box. Pretty basic there. Excuse me, box. All right, so the figure, just got mine in from Japan, like I said. This cost me about, I want to say, like $340 to get it to my door, give or take. It was actually just about $292 shipped from Japan, and then it was picked up by UPS to get delivered to my delivery address, and they wanted $46 on a written check. A written check, yeah, like those things that you'd write a piece of paper on, you hand it to somebody and they go cash it or deposit it in money. Boom, yeah. I had to give them a written check for them to turn over Gamera to me. So that's because of the tariffs and whatnot. So we got to pay to play, people. We got to pay to play. And honestly, look, it's not like I said, I wasn't not going to pay it. But here we are. Gamera. Bam. Awesome. So it is 2025. I had the original version of this figure when it came out in 2013, 12 years ago. I had to go back and look at the review I did on the original version, which was 12 years ago. So what's the difference with this one? Honestly, watching the review, it was kind of hard to tell. This one here, this is dubbed the Renewal version. It's basically a reissue. The sculpt is identical to that of the original release, okay? The only thing is, I feel like the paint job on this one is a little bit different, all right? But we'll get to that. So if you pre-ordered yours with website like xplus North America, they have not got their shipments in yet. I don't remember what the price was on there, but being that the figure was released in Japan, it should start making its way over here to North America, and those that have a pre-order there with xplus North America, you should be getting yours hopefully in the next couple months. Because this was like a Rick only reissue, this was not available on Hobby Search, AmiAmi, Hobby Link, etc. Any of those like websites. At least I don't think it was. Because I went through my source, because I'm a Mike Johnson guy. Bam, that's what's up. But yeah, so it's awesome. First and foremost, it's definitely a 10 out of 10. When I got this out of the box, I'm like, wow. Like, I'm glad I have Gamera back in the collection, the 95 version. Now, why did I sell the original one? I sold the original one because I felt like I already have the 30cm Gamera 96. Where is he? He's somewhere back here. And I have the 25cm to go with Legion. I love Gamera too. I love Gamera vs. Legion. Great movie, great story, great action, great everything, okay? But I purged my xplus collection about 5 years ago and got, I sold off non-essentials, and the 30cm Gamera 95 was on that list. But he's back, and I'm really excited. You know why? Because, first of all, xplus teased a 30-centimeter Gyaos. We didn't have a Gyaos, so I was like, you know what? That was kind of why I was easy to sell the original Gamera that I had. I was like, I don't have the Gyaos, so I'm like, whatever, I'll sell it. But now we got Gyaos. Shortly after Gyaos was announced, this renewal version of Gamera 95 was announced, and it went up for pre-order. So I have, I got this now, and Gyaos is on pre-order too, so we'll have these two together. I'm excited for that. And that will wrap up the first two Heisei films with xplus as far as the figures go. I don't have a Gamera 99 anymore, excuse me. And I don't have an Iris figure. Iris, however you pronounce it. Even though that new one with its wings all out is pretty awesome, but Gamera 3 is not one of my favorites. I mean, it's fun. It just doesn't, for some reason, it just doesn't do anything for me. And Iris doesn't really do it for me either. Anyway, so this figure, when you take it out of the box and you get a real good look at him, this has got to be like one of the crispest, if not the crispiest Gamera figures that I own. Also, like, this is top-notch level of detail that xplus has done here. Even for a sculpt and design that's 12 plus years old, it still holds up today. Okay, just look at his eyes, look at his face. Everything is beautiful. The attention to detail here is amazing. Teeth, tongue, the glands, is in his throat, everything. His giant husks on both sides of his mouth, beautiful. Again, we're just talking about detail. Everything, all of it. The paint job now complements the detail. Like, I could talk about this face for the whole review here, but we're not going to do that, okay? Just take my word for it. One of the features I love about the eyes, and we're going to go back to the mouth, but the eyes, as we move back to the back of his, the corner of his eyes there, we get some subtle reds. So that looks really beautiful. And then even in the mouth, it almost looks like it's got like a little bit of a glaze over that. It give it like that mouthy, wet look. Very beautiful. The husks, we go from the Gamera's basic grayish skin, greenish gray skin, right up to a off-bone white look. So those are beautiful. The basic design of the figure, it's like a greenish gray, but there are some beautiful dry brushing here to give this figure, my favorite word, a sense of depth. So that looks really good. His shell on his stomach and everything has got browns and grays mixed in there. Legs and everything. Again, this basic Gamera color. It's like a not charcoal gray like Godzilla, but it's more like a greenish gray. So it looks really good. Fingernails and the hands, very beautifully done, sculpted and all that good stuff. And I just love the whole freaking pose on this figure. It is beautiful. Feet is, I feel like we're looking at clown shoes with his feet, but at least those are nice and big to support him. But then again, sometimes I feel like his feet are so thin. Like, how do those support his legs? But it works, that's Kaiju-ness. Back of the figure, his shell, because he's a whole Kaiju in a full shell, right? Or half shell? It's a whole shell. Beautiful. Nice greens throughout on top of a grayish color. So these colors pop. And I feel like that's why this one is, for the renewal version, I feel like this one's different from the original. I feel like the original was more gray. But I don't remember. I really don't remember. Like I said, I watched my review, and I just can't tell because I wasn't taking photos of the figures then and putting them into my reviews like I'm doing now. But rest assured, if you have the original or you're getting this one and you're going to have both, you're in for a win-win. Either way, this figure, it's gorgeous. Like I said, 10 out of 10. I cannot wait to get Gyaos to have them next to each other. Like we said, the tail, you just got to plop that tail on, heat up the turtle butthole, plop that tail on nice and secure, now that it's been on for 12 plus hours. But beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Again, the face, going back to his face, like such an expression on his face, perfectly captures that of the suit from the movie Gamera Guardian of the Universe. Right? Right! Turtle power! Ooh! Yeah, so that's pretty much it. We'll do a size comparison once we get Gyaos, alright? What should we do on now with something that I can't pull off the shelf? No, I'm going to pull something off the shelf and knock something over. But 30 centimeter scale. I'm literally trying to look here. Bring up the... Actually, that is funny I grabbed this one. So when I did a box day video back in 2013, I had a double box day with this Godzilla 2000 and the original Gamera 95. So it's kind of funny that I brought this one up. So both 30 centimeter figures. Godzilla does stand a little bit taller. Gamera is a shorty here, but, you know, definitely got the 30 centimeter bulkness to it, you know what I mean? So Godzilla, it's been a while since I even looked at this figure. Beautiful. So there's size comparison. Like I said, 30 centimeters, so it's about 12 inches. Gamera, because he's on a little bit on the shorter side, might be just at 11 and a half, 11 inches, or unless Godzilla's taller than that because he's a big 30 centimeter. All right. Maybe one day we'll get these two on screen. Maybe. You know, you would think that, you know, Toho and Katakawa, Dai, you know, whoever, you know, owns the Gamera rights, they would say, hey, let's do a collab. Come on. You know how much money that would make in Japan? Like get Takashi Yamazaki to direct it, Godzilla versus Gamera, and none of that bullshit from like Godzilla X Kong, you know, where they team up at the end. Like, we need a straight up brawl between these two where, you know, Godzilla thinks that he's saving the Earth. Gamera thinks that he's saving the Earth. You know, they're just doing their jobs. But, you know, hey, you're on my territory, which is both their territory. Japan. Anyway. All right. So, that's it. That's my ramble. Really glad I got this. For those that have it on pre-order, you're in for a treat. If you never owned, if you have the original, you already know what's up. If you don't have the original, you never had the original, and you got this one on pre-order, you're going to love it. Like I said, 10 out of 10, certified fresh, that's what's up. And that's all I got to say about that. Now, make sure you go to the shop tab on the YouTube page and get yourself a fresh vinyl shirt. I had to get myself a new one. It's pretty nice. I mean, I was like, oh, this feels good. I need a new one. Okay? And, I'll see you on the next Fresh Vinyl review. And remember, people, buy vinyl, fresh vinyl. Bam!